another episode of Let's Talk Shop. My name is David Kirby.
And I'm the co-host, John Burton. And today we're going to start a new series. This is going to be the first in the series of episodes about us, your host and co-host.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is, throughout the series we'll just maybe share some personal stories, a little bit to both get you more acquainted with your host, but also to show that, we've been through all type of the same milestones and experiences as a typical person, though they might just have a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit of a different twist to them.
And I think that, knowing a bit about our past, and kind of what our roots are, will kind of give you a better idea of how we think, and sort of where some of our opinions come from. So, without further ado, I think a good place for us to start would be at the beginning. David, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Well, I have, I think, two.
Okay.
And weirdly enough, they're both a song. I don't know, I must have been really young, and I just heard a song playing. I don't know what I was doing. Well, actually, yeah, I kind of. So here's my very, very first memory.
Okay.
I would say I was about 2 or 3. I was sitting in the passenger seat of my dad's car, and he was still a relatively young guy, only maybe 2 or 3 years older than me. I believe he was 29 years old when I was born, so if I was 2 or 3, he'd be 31, 32. And I'm 27 now, so not that much older. Another thing to note is that I didn't start to show any symptoms of disability until about age 6 or 7. So I was sitting in a regular car seat in a passenger seat of my dad's car. Well, since he was still young, he had a sports car. He had an old Datsun. He always likes to say the whole name, a Datsun 280Z. So, and he likes to point out that he used to drive on the highway with the roof down, and I'd be in my car seat, and he'd just be flooring it down the freeway.
Your dad's a baller.
Yeah, apparently I really like that. It does sound fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to do that now.
Yeah.
But,
does he still have that car?
What? No.
No? Okay. Let's see how far I can go back. Okay, so...
Well, I wasn't done with the story.
Oh, go ahead.
There's a few more details in there. We were going to a junkyard to get a part for the car. That's what we used to do pre-internet, I guess. Is you'd have to go to the junkyard and just look through your same car.
Ooh, how quaint.
And just pick pieces off of it. But my dad was taking me there because I guess I really like cars. So my dad really wanted to, take me there because it would be, I would enjoy it, right?
Right, sure.
A bunch of cars.
Sure.
Walls
Yeah.
of them. Well, anyway, I don't remember being there or whatever, but I remember the song "The Wait" by the band was playing in the car on the way there.
The band. There's a band I haven't heard of in a while.
Yeah. The band called The Band.
Yeah.
It's a real band, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. I've always really liked that song. And I think it's mainly, I don't know. That must have been the exact moment where, whenever parts of the brain let you remember stuff, just switched on all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Memory's a funny thing. How old did you say you were?
2 or 3 maybe.
2 or 3. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So I used to live in this place, little town in Indiana called Crown Point.
Crown what?
Crown Point, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
That was where I lived, until I moved to a much smaller town, Wheatfield. So in Crown Point, we moved maybe when I was like, yeah, probably like you said, like 2 or 3. I might have been 2. Yeah, but anyway, so we moved to Wheatfield, but when we were in Crown Point, I remember on a Halloween night, I
Well,
was,
just to clarify,
yeah,
you have been in a wheelchair since birth?
sure.
Well,
I've never been able to walk. I have a specific type of SMA, SMA2, and people with SMA2 generally never walk. But yeah, so anyway, I was in like I just kind of one of those little hanging things you put babies in. I don't know what it's
like one
called.
of those like bouncy things that you just sort of sit
Yeah, like a bouncy sit and jump thing. And I was right by the door. It was Halloween. It was at night. It's dark outside, and we're getting trick or treaters, right? And I can't to this day remember exactly what it was, but there was someone in a costume. I don't know. It might have been like a skeleton or Michael Myers or something, but I just remember it scared the hell out of me. And I'm just like a little baby, right? And I'm just like crying and trying, and like my mom comes and like like she gives the guy candy and sends him on his way. Because she doesn't want to be rude, right? Because it's Halloween.
Yeah.
And then she like calms me down, and not much to it, but that's like as far back as my memory goes.
So your first memory is of being terrified.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That sucks.
that probably explains a lot about me, actually. Yeah, but that's about it. So let's jump forward a little bit in time. Maybe like preschool years.
Preschool years? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. This was before I got my first wheelchair. I think I got my first wheelchair when I was maybe 4.
Well, what did you use before that? Just if people want to.
Yeah, people would just carry me and set me on, chairs. I just didn't get around. I could crawl a little bit. Not really a full crawl, but kind of an army crawl.
So you never used like some kind of stroller or something?
No. Well, yeah, a stroller. My first wheelchair was when I was 4. It was manual. But before then, when I went to preschool, they had like a little, like special wooden chair that had like a back and like a front to kind of hold my body up.
I think I've seen one of those.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like one of the regular chairs, but I didn't really understand like what it all meant.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the.
So you did go to preschool?
I did. I went for 2 years. I started when I was 3.
So you just crawled around in preschool?
A little bit, and I would get carried around.
By who?
By the teachers. We had like maybe 3 teachers.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they call them teachers, but
I think there's like teachers' aides also.
Babysitters, I don't know what you call them, but they were there and they helped me out. And they knew how to like take me to the bathroom and whatnot. And, yeah, and so a lot of the people I knew in preschool would go on to be my classmates in elementary school and middle school. So how about you?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, my grade school did have a regular, like, I want to say every day or maybe 3 days a week preschool. And I think the 3-year-olds went for half a day. And like the 4-year-olds went for a full day. But I never went to that type of preschool. Either because my parents didn't want to pay for it, because there was other preschools offered through like the park district, wherever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, did I mention? You mentioned where you were from, but I never said where I was, right?
Right, right. I don't
Yeah,
think
so
so.
I've lived in Chicago in the same house forever, right?
Okay, okay.
So the south side of Chicago,
These are stomping grounds.
yep, that's where I grew up. I only lived somewhere else when I went to college, and then now here I am back in the same house. So,
Cool beans.
so my preschool, I believe I went around to different parks. I'm not sure if I went to different preschools because maybe they're only offered certain times of the year, or maybe, you know, I aged out of the group or something. Well, I know some of the parks were farther away
Hmm.
from our house, so maybe they slowly got something more convenient. But I think also the time of year mattered because some of the park, like whatever you call the building associated with it, like didn't necessarily have heat.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, so I would go for like 2 or 3 day a week preschool, only for like a few hours. But I don't really remember like what I did or what we learned. Like we learned probably like colors and whatever.
Yeah.
But like I already knew a lot of that stuff because my mom didn't work, so she was at home all day with us. So she would like do flashcards or read to us and stuff, like
Hmm.
sort of just teaching. So like when I started kindergarten, I already knew my letters
Yeah,
and my
yeah.
numbers.
Now, has your disability become evident in any way at that age?
I want to say it might have, but it was probably so subtle that
Very subtle.
it wasn't. Unless you were looking for it, you wouldn't have seen it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like I
yeah.
might have been a little slower, a little less apt to go climb on stuff
Yeah, yeah.
or rough house,
You
rough
you weren't a
house
big
with the other
roughhouser.
boys.
Yeah, you weren't a big roughhouser. I yeah, I remember that was always a thing for me. Like I think roughhousing is how young boys sort of get out their like competitive age, and I just never could do that. So like from a very early age, like it's not like a sad thing because your mind, even when you don't know it, it's like finding ways to adapt. Like I found other ways to express my competitiveness. I remember going to PT and I I hated PT. Um,
Oh yeah, kids
well,
do.
yeah, it's not fun for kids, but it's something every kid should do, absolutely. But I would go every week, right? And I get, you go in and you have like I don't know if it's like 30, 45 minutes of physical therapy. They would like stretch my ankles and have me do like butt walks and put me
Yeah,
on a mat, and
butt walks.
have me breathe into this machine and stretches, all kinds of stuff. It wasn't fun, but like I also remember at the end, sort of my reward for my patience was I would get to play on this like Nintendo, this old NES for like 10 minutes with my PT person,
Sweet.
and we would play Mario, and it was just kind of weird. It's like you got this little kid, I'm like 3, 4 years old, and I'm playing this like maybe 30-year-old woman who probably not a big gamer, really neither of us are, but it's like I'm like competing, like I'm trying so hard to like win, like and yeah, I don't know, that was kind of always a fond memory.
So I was diagnosed when I was really little. I don't know, how did that work for you if you've always had your condition?
Um, so my parents noticed that I wasn't as active as other like babies. And I was like one maybe.
Like
Um,
active, like just trying to move around and
yeah, just
stuff?
like I wasn't like crawling. Like I said, I was doing like army walks. I wasn't crawling. I wasn't definitely wasn't standing. So they took me to the doctor, and they performed a muscle biopsy. So they snipped out a little piece of my muscle,
Yeah.
my arm. It was inconclusive, so they snipped another little piece out of my leg. Um, and I have a couple stars, but they diagnosed me very young. I don't remember it. Yeah, that's about it.
So do they do anything like immediately after? Like,
No, I mean they explained to my parents, but all of that I'm just way too young to remember.
yeah.
Diagnosing SMA has evolved like miles. And now I think they can just do it with a regular blood test.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably. 'Cause that would
yeah,
have been what, like 25 years ago?
yeah.
Something
They
like that?
they really didn't know as much about SMA then at all. Like it's amazing in our lifetimes how much they've learned about people with MD. Yeah.
Yeah,
And anyway, your diagnosis.
so mine came later. Like I said, it's progressive, so at first you're going to be sort of a typically functioning kid, and then the symptoms will slowly start to show up. So mine was about when I was 5 years old, so under 95. Um, I don't particularly remember what first started it. We have a few sort of anecdotes that my family likes to use. So my grandparents lived in Florida. They retired, every Christmas we'd go down there, and every summer they'd come by us, because they couldn't tolerate the cold. So summer was the only time they could tolerate to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
in Chicago.
yeah.
So they went to one of my little league games. My parents still, still, the signs are probably getting bigger, but still subtle enough to where, if you don't want to see it, you're not going to, you know.
Mhm.
So, we're at this, or it's not even little league, it's t-ball. Sort of that making your kid do a sport, even though it's not really a sport, just so you can say,
Oh yeah, yeah.
look how cute that is.
I did some of that too. Well, I didn't play, but
Yeah.
kept score.
So, I mean, honestly, even if I could have been physically to the same level as the other kids, like, I didn't care. I think they said I would do outfield and I would just, like, lay in the grass and not pay attention. When they tell me that hit the ball, I would. They tell me, go, run to that place. And I would, but I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
guess my dad, or not my dad, my grandpa, and my mom were in the bleachers watching. And my grandpa, just very older adult male of him, just, there's something wrong with him. Like, he ain't walking right. There's something wrong with him. You better
Yeah, he doesn't
check that out.
doesn't really have a filter. Yeah.
Just very blunt.
Yeah.
Very that generation,
Yeah, yeah. Greatest generation on earth.
But, my parents did notice that I hadn't been running, jumping, playing like the other boys would, right?
Yeah.
Like in a playground, I wouldn't go run and jump on whatever the stuff you climb on. There would be no monkey bars or running over those. You've seen those like black sort of plastic bridges that are kind of wobbly.
Yeah.
They got like chains holding them up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I wasn't as active, so they took me for the test also. I also got a biopsy in my leg. They didn't put me to sleep though, if you could believe that. They just gave me like some sedative to drink. It didn't really work that good.
Oh,
I remember it kind of hurt my leg.
that's not cool.
But yeah, I think my test came back right away, and that was it, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of different because I was at least old enough to remember
Yeah.
and remember going to like a lot of doctors right away because I think they have to make sure like because it can affect you. Duchenne can affect you cognitively as well.
Yeah.
So they did all these cognitive tests. I had to do a hearing test. I remember. All these different things just to see where I was at. Yeah, that's pretty much the way it goes. And I was old enough to where my parents could still tell me. I didn't understand the implications of it, but they didn't hide it from me, right? They were like, so you have a leg disease or something. However you simplify that to a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a disease and your legs don't work. But everything else is still okay.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And you're a kid and you're just like, I don't know what any of this means, but...
It was like, whatever.
Okay.
Can I go back and watch Sesame Street or whatever?
Yeah, we were kids to watch.
Like, I don't care.
Pokemon, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I think this is a good place to stop for now. But we're going to pick it up next time. Maybe talk a bit about elementary school, middle school, and, we'll just take it from there. So, I'm John Burton.
And I'm David Kirby signing off. This has been Let's Talk Shop.
Good night.